The growers that are engaged in leaf analysis, we've seen them turn crops around from, hey, this isn't going right, we've got insects all over the place, to, that cleaned up pretty good. That crop picked well, that, etc. Had a really, really good outcome. When growers want to grow crops and use less herbicides, we have to always remind them that the number one fertilizer to weeds is sunlight. So the faster that you can grow your main crop, the better. But weeds soak up oftentimes excess fertilizer that your crops don't want. And Mother Nature has herbicides already baked into her system, carbonic acid and oxygen being two. There's also a lot of weeds that are extremely low in soluble phosphorus and calcium. We've studied this across many, many different bioregions. And last but not least, there's healthy root exudates from seeds that actually act as herbicides themselves to limit the germination of other crops. So in other words, the healthier your crop is growing and the healthier the roots are, like I just mentioned a minute ago, the better off you're going to be in terms of your herbicide budget. Now, if you want to grow crops with less fungicides and insecticides, the first thing you've got to do is use nature as your guide, right? We talked about this in episode 6, I think it was, with the 10 fundamentals of nature. Some of the most common fungicides today are naturally occurring. There's peroxide and vinegar and different forms of acids and essential oils and seaweeds and things like that that are all used as essentially fungicides or plant growth regulators. By buffering and moderating applications to include abiotic stress inputs, these abiotic stress relief inputs, I should say, these have a key role to play in reducing the amount of stress that the plants are under, so it acts as food to the plant so it can help to fend off the invaders. We've always got to remember that plants have their own immune system. Plants can fend off most pests and diseases on their own, and they're designed to do so. When we give them the tools that they need to. There's also additional biochemical pesticides that are extremely soft chemistry that are synthesized from things such as microbes and compost that will increase your plant's long-term or your field's long-term resilience to a particular insect while simultaneously not disrupting the natural ecosystem. I think I mentioned this in one of the episodes that when we use thyme oil or cinnamon oil, we see those as actually bringing in substantial amounts of beneficial insects into a field as predators. You can limit your sodium chloride and aluminum. If you get back to root uptake and root health, you're going to be much better off. And always remember that weather events are going to be exploited by insects and disease. If you want to grow better crops with biological partners, nitrogen-fixing bacteria are now being, discovered by all the greatest companies that have the largest marketing budget from an agrochemical standpoint worldwide. Bayer's and BASF and all these other large budget companies have now nitrogen-fixing bacteria that they're producing and selling. They've realized that this is a real phenomenon. Not only that, mycorrhizal fungi symbiosis has been scientifically shown to produce 10 times the nutrients in symbiotic crops. Why would you not use these, right? Why would you not use these as a fundamental point in your nutritional program and do everything you can to nurture them? If you want to grow crops with biological partners that will feed you literally dollars into your pocket, nurture these two species. There's also indigenous microorganisms that we continually abuse. If we stop the abuse and encourage them, support them with maybe some PGPRs, the plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, to manage the root soil interface, then maybe we stand a fighting chance. Because there's a lot on the line here in the US currently related to agricultural systems. Globalization has taken its toll. We all understand this. Every one of us has experienced through ingestion of food or on our farms or in some indirect way what's happening in America from an agricultural standpoint. These on-farm choices impact the individual health of the farm workers on a day-to-day basis. They impact the family health of all the consumers on a day-to-day basis. These downstream snowball into community viability, regional ecosystems, our natural economy, global ecosystems, and individual health from every single country across the globe. When constant agricultural poisons are put out in large amounts that damage wildlife or fish, or we have a certain amount of gut health or gut microbe health that's in decline in the United States, or any other list, and there's greater personalities out there like Zach Bush and Dan Kittredge and some of these other guys that can really explain the nutritional connection of farm produced goods to human health. There's an intimate connection there. If that is neglected to be understood, we're going to be on a downstream spiral of not only our farm health, but our individual health through healthcare costs, through the healthcare system, and so on and so forth. But it works in reverse, which is a beautiful thing. And so, like we've been talking about from the beginning of the series and through nearly every episode, carbon, as talked about on the news in the form of carbon credits or, global warming, there's too much carbon. It is a blessing that there's a tremendous amount of carbon in the atmosphere. It's a resource that we can use, take from the atmosphere, put into the ground through proper soil building practices, boost our health, boost our crop health, cut our budgets, produce better crops, increase the health of the consumers, and long term create just an overall better planet. It's all connected. This matters fundamentally from two primary standpoints: the nutritional decline in crops as well as profits of the American farmer. And I understand that, yes, the government can subsidize, but do we really want that? Would we rather just produce healthy foods that are good to consume at an economical cost that's sustainable to our community? Because at the end of the day, all humans need healthy nutrition. And certain crops are going to be really good to grow in certain regions. And if they can't grow there because the soil's been too depleted, that's a resource lost for our country or our community. There's a constant increase, and you see it on the news, of food allergies and intolerances. Could it be that some of these food allergies and intolerances are caused by malformed proteins within the plant structure, or agricultural residue, or a combination of both, or maybe there's metal toxicity that's unseen, DNA and mitochondria? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to figure that all out. But what I can tell you is it's very obvious visually that when we remediate plants using some of the apical method of crop improvement, there's a obvious re-establishment of the plant's natural mode of potential growth. This has huge repercussions. So we're all voting with our dollars every single day. And who gets to grow and say how these things are that we eat, how they're grown, what we eat, right? In other words, do we all have access to high quality, low price, organic, low residue, highly nutritional value crops on a day-to-day basis? I would say maybe at best. If not, maybe kind of sort of sometimes, probably not that most of the time. There's a lot of human diseases that are tied to nutrition and contamination within agricultural environments and just overall ecosystems. And so now I would ask all of you that have listened to either one episode or multiple episodes within the series, are you ready to join Mother Nature University? Carbon is king. Thanks again very much, and look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care.